22nd, 2020 meeting of the Affordable Housing Collaborative Committee. And so we'll do roll call. Anyone want to start?
Alice Buckley,
Jen Kruger,
Kenny
Blaney.
Burke,
Christian Blaney.
Josh Daly,
Joe, you're muted. I don't know if it matters. I saw you say your name.
Thank you, Joe Murphy.
and Brian Wagner here as well.
all right. So we have to, the next item on the agenda is to approve the minutes. Does anyone make a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Okay. A
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next agenda item is correspondence and public comments. Do we have anyone in the public?
I do not have any. I see we have one attendee. This is a woman who participated in a meeting recently. I'm just going to promote her. Ilana? Nope. I don't see her coming in anywhere.
I see her.
But she is in the list, so
named on the
maybe
screen.
she's just listening on a phone. This is a woman who commented in one of our recent, I forget whether it was a planning board work session meeting or a TRC meeting, expressed an interest in some affordable housing issues. So we invited her to attend and either listen in, offer comment if we get to a point where we're soliciting public comment, and also informed her that we had several openings on the committee if she was so interested.
That sounds great. So Ilana, is it Ilana? Can you hear us?
Hi, yes. Oh, I did a type. I misspelled my own name. I'll fix that. Hi, my name's Ilana. Nice to meet everyone. Yeah, I'm just interested in listening in and finding out more and hopefully getting involved in getting more affordable housing in South Kingstown.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Did you have any particular comments that you wanted to make beyond that, Ilana, at the moment? Or just want to listen in? And we certainly welcome your comments as we talk to.
Yeah, not at the moment. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. So the next item on the agenda, 5, is old business. So 5A is our discussion with tax assessor. Thanks so much, Jean, for being here today. So how do you want to handle the discussion here?
Well, I don't know if Gene has anything particular prepared to talk about. I think the idea in having him here was to allow the board to ask him questions about your ideas for implementing a tax relief idea for accessory dwelling units. So he's here, he's available. I guess fire away and we can start our conversation that way.
Gene, have you been able to see, we've been discussing a potential program for tax abatements for building of accessory dwelling units for a little while. I don't know if you have seen any of the materials that we've been looking through, or if you'd rather we give you an introduction. Or
I only have some basic thoughts.
Okay.
And this is just the beginning of the program is, for me, as far as affordable accessory units go. But if this program goes forward, just some very basic things. Obviously, I guess it's been discussed in the past that we need to have some kind of an application form
Mhm.
for people to apply. And we have a lot of accessory units in town, but most of them have been there for a long period of time.
Mhm.
So I think people would have to come forward and with some kind of an application form that I can work with Brian on
Mhm.
to get the ball rolling. And then I talked to the manager this week briefly, and we both didn't know, what the initial response would be. The manager is talking about having the accessory units be tax exempt for a period of 5 years before they go into an actual affordable unit, so that they can build up the inventory of the accessory units.
Mhm.
But I think that he also mentioned that initially there probably should be a limit on how many could go into the first year, maybe say 20 or so units, depending on what the response is. Maybe the response, maybe it'll be much more than that, maybe it'll be less than that. But maybe putting a limit on for the first year so we can kind of develop the program. Some thoughts that I had are random. I mean, the existing accessories units we have, if it has a separate entrance to the accessory unit, it's a two-family dwelling. So I don't know how people are going to feel about that. I don't mean that to be a negative comment. I just mean it to be, I mean, if someone adds an accessory unit to their dwelling, they may end up with a two-family classification, which could have an impact on their homeowner's insurance. And then the other thought I had, and I don't know how, is the other half going to be an owner occupied unit and then one's an affordable unit, or can both units be units that can be rented at affordable prices? So, and then I noticed from the notes from the previous meeting that there's been some discussion on a monitoring agent. Now, I'm kind of naive to this aspect. And someone said the expense of a monitoring agent. We have other affordable units in town, and most of them are Rhode Island Housing and Narragansett Housing Authority. I didn't know, my own ignorance, maybe I'm wrong, I didn't know they came with a fee. I thought they were state agencies promoting affordable units, and the monitoring agent was willing to monitor that property and be funded by, I guess it's ultimately Rhode Island Housing. But I don't know if anybody knows any more information on that.
So maybe we can take kind of each of your questions in turn a little bit. So might have to remind us of some of the first questions, but maybe we'll start with the last one and we'll work our way back. So is someone more familiar with this than me about the monitoring agent and the fees associated with that?
So it is required that if it's an affordable unit with a 30-year deed restriction, excuse me, that every year it has to be monitored and determined that the family actually meets the guidelines, the income guidelines, and that the proper rents are being charged. And that's usually, you do pay a fee for that. There's a couple of entities in the state that will do that, like the Community Housing Land Trust or the housing networks will do that for you at a fee. Sometimes it's $500 or up to $1,500 a year. I'm not sure exactly what the cost is. If you have larger developments, like if you're a nonprofit and you have large affordable developments, you are monitored by usually Rhode Island Housing or another entity that funded it. Whoever funded the project makes sure that you yearly, all your tenants meet specific guidelines.
Could you tell me again, who pays the fee?
The homeowner.
Oh,
And so I believe that what we were putting in was an idea that we were, and I have to think back, but was it something that we were talking about covering some of that cost for a period of time as well as part of the abatement, or I'm trying to remember.
I just read over the notes and it was within the Affordable Housing Land Trust and the Affordable Housing Trust, we were allowing people to apply or
For
to
that.
apply for money to
Right.
offset those costs.
That's right, thanks.
I think part of the impetus for the tax exemption too was that would help offset the cost of the monitoring agent.
Right, right. So can we go through your other questions, Gene?
well, I can work with Brian on trying to get some type of an application.
The
form.
application, yeah, that's something we certainly thought about.
And then the manager mentioned limiting the number of units, like in the first year to say 20 units, 20 applications. Some of those could be existing units that come in.
Is the thinking in limiting to, in terms of being able to manage the program, in terms of being able to not
I think it's
have too many tax
entirely-
abatements happening, or what's the?
Well, what we do, there wouldn't be an abatement, it would be tax exempt. If someone pulled a permit or they had an existing dwelling that had a 750 square foot accessory apartment, we would literally take that 750 square feet out of their assessment calculation. So they wouldn't be assessed for that at all. So there wouldn't be an abatement.
Okay,
Just that they wouldn't be taxed for it right from the beginning. But we didn't know if this, without knowing what kind of a response there might be, without a limit. I mean, what if we had 100 or 200 people come forward and say, yeah, I want to be in this program, and we're taking 750 feet or however many square feet is in the unit off of the tax roll? That might be something we want to consider. How many tax dollars are being eliminated just to see what kind of a response there would be that first year.
So my understanding was that our intent was try to encourage accessory dwelling units, both accessory dwelling units that are affordable and also accessory dwelling units that are deed restricted affordable. And I thought the intent was or what we were talking about was making it tax exempt for new accessory dwelling units, or maybe existing accessory dwelling units that become deed restricted. I'm not sure if there's any value to make it tax exempt for an existing accessory dwelling unit that remains a non-deed restricted accessory dwelling unit. I'm not sure why we'd want to.
Yeah, I agree. I think you, at least from my review of the minutes, you were talking about two separate things. For new construction, in order to, sort of create a carrot for new construction of deed restricted, you would offer a 5-year tax abatement. At the end of the 5 years, they could either deed restrict it, or it would automatically go right back on the tax rolls if they did not. So that would be your carrot to try and get people to build. Now, those units would not count towards your state 10% goal during that 5 years because they're not deed restricted. The whole idea is we're trying to get people interested in doing this. And then insofar as a 30-year deed restriction that does meet state requirements, that could be anything. That could either be a new unit that, passed through that initial 5-year period, or it could be an existing unit where you have a property owner that is interested in supporting affordable housing, or maybe has family members that qualify for affordable housing that would be able to use it. and they would be able to benefit from the tax exemption.
And that was my understanding also. And I think that'll greatly reduce the number because existing ADUs are not necessarily going to apply for that because they're really not going to get anything unless they go to the deed restricted, right?
Correct. Correct. I don't, while I certainly see the benefit in doing this, and every unit of affordable housing is one more unit that we didn't have before, I don't see this as a dam burst kind of moment where all of a sudden Gene's office is going to be flooded with applications for people looking to deed restrict their accessory dwelling units.
What I can't quantify is if we're going to say in the first 5 years, they're going to be tax exempt on a portion of their house without having to commit to it being affordable, I could see people saying, yeah, I'm interested in that.
Right.
Well, they would be committing it for it to be affordable for that 5-year period.
But it's not an affordable unit in that first 5 years.
It would not count towards the
It
state
wouldn't count,
goal.
but the homeowner is tax exempt on that.
Correct.
So
While
it's-
we're trying to build up the number of accessory units that potentially could be affordable. And that's the whole idea, is try to encourage affordable accessory units to be built so that we can build up the stock of potential.
It's two different types of affordable I think we're talking about here. So there's certainly the deed restricted affordable, but then there's also this 5 years. The thinking is, they may not be deed restricted, or not many of them may be deed restricted, but it would put more affordable units online.
Well, that's, my understanding, and I'm in a learning curve here on this, but the first 5 years, we're going to have accessory apartments out there. If we go down this road, that part of the house is going to be tax exempt while the inventory is being built. So.
But my understanding, Gene, was that tax exempt would only be applicable for either new construction or existing construction where they commit to a deed restriction. An existing ADU, I don't think could come in and say, I want to have 5 years of